Hot off the heels of both Dead Island games, Techland delivers Dying Light. Frankly, not much has changed since then. The environments are more brown and yellow and decayed, and there is an elaborate parkour movement system, but other than that, fundamentally it is the same experience. The core of the gameplay loop is getting a main story mission, and then running free roam through the map to reach the objective, talking to a person or flipping a switch, then running all the way back across the map to talk to another person. To say the game is uneventful is putting it lightly. For the first 4 hours, it's hard for me to recall anything interesting that happens. It's a total snooze fest. You do the same thing over and over. Talk to some generic, forgettable story character, get an objective marker, parkour through the map to the objective marker, and usually all you do is just talk to another person. There's tons of zombies everywhere, but you don't have much incentive to kill them, as your weapons at this point suck. It's stuff like simple iron pipes or wooden boards, and it takes 10 hits to kill a single zombie. I played it in co-op, and for the first couple hours all we can say is how bored we are, and how nothing is actually happening. Luckily, if one person reaches the next objective, then there's a fast travel mechanic where the other person can hold B to instantly travel there. And then, around the halfway mark, just like both Dead Island games, Dying Light introduces firearm combat, and it totally changes the experience and almost trivializes melee weapons. You'll be fighting a generic Call of Duty style close quarters battles, obtaining pistols, assault rifles with tons of ammo. It's a stark contrast to the previous hours, where you could barely kill anything with crappy pipes and wooden boards. Now you can easily one-shot every enemy without any stress. Awkward. Because of this, the difficulty is all over the place. The first half is annoying and hard. You can't kill anything, and it's not worth it to even engage. Then suddenly you turn into a killing machine out of nowhere and can just breeze past every enemy. The pacing is a mess. It feels so odd to suddenly go from using awful melee weapons to instantly having 200 plus assault rifle bullets that are pinpoint accurate that can one-hit any enemy with a headshot. Why even use melee weapons after that point? I kept buying them at the shop, but they felt utterly worthless, even with upgrades. There's a ton of side quests and crafting and upgrades to be done, but it's like, why even bother? I don't find the combat particularly entertaining or engaging, and since it's not even required, the easier path is to just run past everything, utilizing the incredibly fluid and easy parkour system. You can climb anything and jump on anything. All you have to do is traverse the map spamming spacebar, and your guy will evade any encounter with ease. If I spent the first couple hours mindlessly doing generic side quest after generic side quest, only to become a murderous superhero armed to the teeth with assault rifles after a couple story missions, I would have felt like an idiot that wasted my time. The story, dialogue, and voice acting are extremely cookie cutter. It's another totally generic get the zombie virus cure, but there's a forced romance story, and an ambiguously bad evil corporation as well, as the obvious bad guy antagonist. It's just cliche. We stopped giving a shit and just started listening to music towards the end of the game because it was so meh. There's a few interesting points, but they're few and far between. The best thing about Dying Light is the fluid movement system. It is genuinely fun at times to traverse the environment, climbing rooftops and walking across wires, hopping around, looking down at your feet like you're Spider-Man or something. Unfortunately, it feels like a case of filler. I would have almost preferred an instant fast travel to the next objective, instead of having to run all around a boring open world just to get there. It gets tedious fast. But the movement never feels bad. If other games had this movement system, I wouldn't complain. The graphics are pretty decent with some nice lighting effects and shaders, however it suffers from a really bland color palette, where everything is kind of piss filtered and drab. There's a lot of sewer sections and swimming sections, which are pretty atmospheric, but in the long run it will be utterly forgettable. Some environments are interesting, like having to climb across industrial construction zones while avoiding zombies and looking out into the wide view distance. The gunfights with humans are pretty fun, but they're a minority of events. There's a kind of enjoyable co-op feature where you can compete against each other at certain points, like racing to the objective and getting more kills and stuff. Completely optional but fun at times. The game wraps up at about 11 hours of gameplay with a weak, quick time event ending. There is nothing compelling me to come back and free roam and do the side missions. I don't understand the appeal that people have for this game really. It's like an illusion of emergent gameplay, where in reality you don't actually have to fight 90% of the encounters and there's not much reason to. While the game has a lot of stuff going for it, like the movement is fun, the graphics are nice, some of the combat is pretty decent, unfortunately the major flaw is that the mission design is absolutely awful. The large chunk of missions are completely uneventful and nothing happens. You will go hours at a time without even being able to recall one interesting event that happened. Nothing but fetch quests and generic encounters. This alone makes the game feel like a chore to play at points. It's a pity because I was hoping it would be better than Dead Island. It's hard to say if it's better because I feel like Dead Island has a more appealing location and environment. My score would probably be even lower if I played it solo. Disappointing. 5 out of 10.
Nothing good, yeah. Yes, that's well put. No, you will find nothing good. You will find evidence of death and suffering and loss.
Anyway.